Hello folks, and welcome back to the show that today features international travel, fabulously lavish clothing, and lots of martinis. No, the brass here at Rotten Tomatoes is not whisking me away on a vacation, no matter how well-deserved one might be. Hey, you're right, I don't work that hard. It is spy versus another spy. Using your own powers of sleuthing and deductive reasoning, you've probably already figured out that James Bond is going to show up today. And he's going to have his very well-manicured hands full as he tangles with fellow Hall of Fame secret agents Ethan Hunt and Jason Bourne. Hopefully someone reminded Mr. Bourne his memory can be a little spotty. In one corner, it's the granddaddy of them all, the legendary 007, whose reputation for foiling villains is matched only by his bedroom prowess, which in turn is only matched by his liver's endurance. In another corner is Ethan Hunt, the daring American who seems to thrive when the pressure is the greatest and the heights are the highest. And in the third corner, it's a triangle today, kids. It's Jason Bourne, who excels at close quarter combat and avoiding all cameras not hinged to a shake weight. To be the best spy today, these fellows will have to prove not only how mighty their respective film franchises are, but whether any of us would actually trust them with a real-world mission. Impossible, you say? Well, I say here is how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, box office. Round 2, Tomatometer/audience score. Round 3, spy hard. Round 4, iconic moments. And then we'll do a wild card round that unfortunately will not involve Johnny English. Come on! He's funny. And while half the population is fawning over how hot our three sexy spies are, Jay English and Leslie Nielsen, could be getting a real spy job done. You know what? The winner today takes on the winner of Nielsen and English. Okay, I feel better now. Come ye tinkers, rest ye tailors, sit ye soldiers, the time is nigh to determine the greatest cinematic spy of them all. Let's get it on.
Jesus Christ, it's
Bond. James Bond.
What are you talking about?
Round 1, box office. For all the credit spies get as undetectable masters of secrecy, they sure have left a big footprint at the movie theaters. Any one of these three fellows would be instantly disavowed as soon as their own government saw them on one of the movie posters that they make. But wow, do they attract fans. James Bond, Jason Bourne, and Ethan Hunt have been the linchpins to three of the most successful action movie franchises ever. But who comes out on top? That was not a euphemism, Mr. Bond. Stop chuckling. Just relax.
I'm sorry.
But while you are kicking back, you can also rest on your laurels as the all-time box office king when it comes to super spies. As one might expect, the total gross for all the Bond movies far exceeds that of the Mission Impossible and Bourne franchises, simply because Jimmy has been solving problems since the early 1960s. Back then, Mission Impossible was just a TV show, and Jason Bourne wasn't even a confused twinkle in his daddy's eye. All told, Bond films have notched a worldwide total of $16.75 billion when we adjust for inflation, including $5 billion for Sean Connery's movies alone. Daniel Craig comes in at second place with $3.75 billion. He actually has a chance to pass the original Bond if No Time to Die is more like Skyfall and less like Quantum of Solace. And although Mission Impossible has only done $4.89 billion and Bourne has just totaled $2.19 billion, here's where it gets interesting. The box office average per movie makes this round very competitive. Per flick, the Bourne movies average an impressive $438 million worldwide, and shockingly, it's the Bourne legacy with a slightly higher total than the average of the Matt Damon Bourne movies, which total 4. James Bond topples Jason and his knockoff easily, sporting a healthy $644 million per movie average, headlined by Daniel Craig's $893 million average. But it's Mission Impossible that far outweighs the averages of Bond and Bourne any way you slice it. Across the earth, Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt averages $815 million per outing, and here in the States, they rake in $275 million per. So whereas James Bond's movie total certainly helps pad his bank account and may help him win later rounds, here it's all about what can we bank on each and every time out of the gate. And while Craig and Sean Connery have competitive average totals with the one true Ethan Hunt, folks like Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and even Roger Moore fall well short of Mission Impossible numbers. The lesson here, hitting for power is great, but hitting for average makes you a winner. Ethan Hunt is currently doing both very well. Look, Matt Damon is a certifiable A-list star, and the James Bond mythology alone is enough to get plenty of butts in seats. But Tom Cruise may be the most bankable movie star in the history of the sport, and for that, Ethan Hunt steals round 1. Now go celebrate by doing some ridiculous stunt that drives insurance people bonkers.
What the hell is he doing?
I find it best not to look.
Round 2, Tomatometer/audience score. The Tomatometer and audience score can be very diverse metrics when it comes to cinematic quality, but one thing the critics and movie-going public can agree on is these 3 spy franchises are unequivocally fresh. Mission Impossible, Bourne, and Bond all have fresh averages for the movies on both the Tomatometer and audience score. Bourne is the leader as far as the audience is concerned, with a 77% average, followed by Mission Impossible 72% and Bond's 63%. Meanwhile, on the Tomatometer side of things, the top 2 crisscross, and Mission Impossible jumps to the lead with 79%, ahead of Bourne at 73%, and Bond with an on-brand 69%.
Oh, grow up.
But just like the box office round, those initial numbers don't quite tell the whole story. First of all, Mission Impossible and Bourne have 11 movies between them, and Bond has 27 films all on his own. Yes, I tossed in the David Niven Casino Royale, put some respect on his name. Mr. Niven's turn as Bond won't help 007 get a win here, but George Lazenby might. On Her Majesty's Secret Service was George's lone outing as Bond, but it serves to put him at 81% on the Tomatometer, trailing only Sean Connery's 83% average. Matt Damon's Bourne slate comes in 3rd across all 3 franchises with an 80.5% average, and Mission Impossible is 4th with the 79%. The bottom line is this round is as competitive as it comes, numbers-wise. For shits and giggles, I'm tossing Austin Powers into this shagfest, and he comes out with a barely randy 59% Tomatometer average. See, Mike? Now you gotta make one more to get that franchise fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Despite Jaws maybe falling in love sort of at the end of Moonraker, Roger Moore's Bond set can't quite average fresh, but it's an oh-so-close 57%. However, Brosnan, Dalton, and Craig are all residents of Freshville. And if we're looking at the numbers to tell us the story, the clearest gap between these franchises isn't on the Tomatometer or the audience score, it's in the film totals. Again, 27 movies! The fact that Bond is such a Katherine Heigl fan that he made one movie for every one of her bridesmaid dresses is nuts!
How original. What will they think of next?
And it also shows that, as impressive as the legacy of a 20-year-old franchise like Bourne or a mid-20s age series like Mission Impossible is, James Bond has been thrilling us, romancing ladies, and knocking back adult beverages for almost 60 years, and yet his tux still fits better than ever. Round 2 goes to Bond, Gold Bond, and 007 powders his way to a tie at the top with Ethan Hunt.
You know, that's not half bad. I'm gonna have to think up a name for that.
Jason Bourne, now would be a good time to remember that you're pretty good at this spy stuff too. Hey, Jason, are you with me? God, the guy. Treadstone, that ring a bell? He's worse than the Winter Soldier.
Who am I?
Round 3, Spy Hard. Okay, see, there's a reason why I tried to cushion the blow at the top of the show. Leslie Nielsen, once again, not going to be making an appearance in this round. As fun as Spy Hard may have been, Nielsen's most famous character of all time, Lieutenant Frank Drebin, would not have made a very good spy, which raises the question, do any of our 3 competitors today make a truly great spy? All of our gentlemen callers have qualities that help them get the job done. And in the case of both Ethan Hunt and James Bond, their wins are more often than not victories for the team. Hunt always has a ragtag cast of able-bodied support staff aiding him in his very tough-to-accomplish missions, ranging from the tech nerds to understudies to his equals in the form of a female. Whether it's Ving Rhames' Luther, Rebecca Ferguson's Faust, Simon Pegg's character, Jeremy Renner, or Paula Patton, Ethan has had plenty of good role players over the years, but it always seems like he's most willing to do the heavy lifting, which in his case usually translates into strapping himself to the side of a moving plane, or dangling from a cliff listening to Metallica, or successfully leaping between buildings. Apologies. Almost successfully leaping between buildings. Did your whole theater cringe when they actually ran that in the movie? Eesh. Hunt also has good instincts when a particular agency is up to no good, or someone in his own inner circle might be double-crossing him. This intuition was no doubt developed because, like a lot of people in his life, have been no good double-crossers. I'm just glad Emilio Estevez's Jack isn't alive to be disappointed by his fellow agents. Instincts are similarly one of the best assets for Jason Bourne. And while he's an expert at sniffing out when his own country is selling him a bag of fake magic beans just to get him back under their wing, his intuition is best utilized when it's for the sake of his own survival. You'll never find Bourne trusting that day's newspaper, much less a CIA operative or a fellow rogue spy. It took the dude up until like his 4th movie to trust Julia Stiles. And she was in 10 Things I Hate About You, and that movie's great. It came out in 1999, 3 years before the Bourne Identity in 2002, so I'm willing to bet Jason Bourne never saw that flick. David Webb might have. Look that one up. It's funny. But if Bourne relies on his instincts to help him survive, the payoff to continue escaping death has got to be his fighting ability. For all the suave of a Bond or the daring of a Hunt, I will take Jason Bourne if this all just came down to a street fight. Jason Bourne recruits martial arts techniques as diverse as Filipino Kali, Israeli Krav Maga, Bruce Lee's Wing Chun, and Jeet Kune Do. Or if you prefer, look at this. He'll just knock you out with a single punch. Jake Paul, you're next. Bourne's nose for survival is equaled by Bond's thirst for a good time. Or so it would appear. James Bond is surely a hoot at parties, but he's only attending those as a cover so he can get his mission accomplished, defeat the bad guys, and oh boy, he's leaving with someone else's wife. Whew, boy. Okay, so look, maybe James is guilty of getting a tad more sidetracked than Bourne or Hunt, but to be fair, Hunt is now kind of sort of spoken. Is Michelle Monaghan still around? I know he cared about her at one time. And in Bourne's first outing, he hooked up with Franca Potente, so even the most hardcore super spy has an eye that can occasionally wander. But with his other well-trained eye, Bond fixates on all the cool gadgets his buddy Q drums up for him. Need an exploding pen for this task? Gotcha. How about a tiny emergency defibrillator? No problem. Jetpack? Hey, we're not gonna pay for it. Here it is. Bond has technological advances to spare. Now, would he trust those gloves outside of the Dubai skyscraper like Ethan Hunt did? I'm not sure.
And when it's red, dead.
But 007's Aston Martin can sure zoom away from an incoming sandstorm. The thing that sways me towards Jason Bourne is his refusal to ever give up his positioning, his location, even his heart. The key to any good spy is not getting caught. And whereas Bond and Hunt are in the open, even when they can no longer fully rely on the very agency that sent them there in the first place, Bourne is fueled by his constant paranoia that no one is as they seem and everyone must be kept at an arm's length. Even when he does come out of his shell and arrange to meet someone, it's going to be a series of expertly timed bus stops, ringing payphones if they still have them, security camera blind spots, just to give the guy a fist bump. Is Jason Bourne by far the loneliest of our 3 heroes today? Without hesitation, yes. But this round isn't called commitment issues, it's called spy hard. And no one spies harder or better than Jason Bourne. This round is his, and we enter round 4 with a 3-way tie at the top.
Get some rest, Pam. You look tired.
Round 4, iconic moments. Yes, it's a trifecta deadlocked at the top of the scoreboard, and if it's threesomes you like, you're going to love some of James Bond's iconic moments. The man who's given us by far the most amount of legacy-defining sequences can't kick back just yet. However, this round will favor quality over quantity. Which doesn't necessarily exclude 007 either. From the first time we see Sean Connery as Bond in Dr. No, all the way up through the very memorable and unfortunate man-region torture poor Daniel Craig endures in Casino Royale, every incarnation of Britain's second-best spy, Justice for Johnny English, provides us, the audience, with new, lasting memories. Some of which are thanks to his villainous counterparts. Goldfinger expecting Bond to die, Crocodile Hopscotch and Live and Let Die, and Famke Janssen's Xenia Onatop's Legs of Death all come to mind. Bond can equally impress us with his fighting ability as evidenced by George Lazenby kicking ass beachside in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And his tendency to go rogue, as when Timothy Dalton's 007 resigns just so he can truly get the nefarious Sanchez once and for all. We love a suave James Bond, like when Pierce Brosnan adjusts his tie before getting on with the mission, but we also adore the rough and tumble Daniel Craig iteration doing his best to pass MI6's intense physical in Skyfall. And for all the street cred Craig gets as being a rowdy Bourne-style brawler, when he lands on top of the train at the outset of Skyfall, you're damn right the dude adjusts his cufflinks. While we wait to see that James's swan song in no time to get a release date, we can now turn our attention to a man who ironically might have taught that old dog some new tricks, Jason Bourne. We're introduced to a very soaking wet Bourne, but once he's back on land, we quickly see him gain his fighting sea legs when confronted. Like a great comedian handling a front row heckler, Bourne takes down his foes quick, hard, and for good. And a year before Mark Wahlberg and the Italian Job Bunky Bunch helped Mini Cooper stock soar, it was Jason Bourne who showed off the maneuverability of that vehicle design. Chase scenes became a hallmark of the franchise, and I'll give a big nod to the Bourne Legacy motorcycle duel, as well as the epic Vegas destruction at the end of the fourth Bourne flick. But still, when I think of that movie, I fondly recall the one-punch knockout. And overall, Bourne's ultimate supreme legacy identifies as mind-boggling one-on-one battles with the Asset, with Jarda, or here, where he beats up a guy with a magazine. Yes, a magazine. You're not even safe from Jason in a dentist office waiting room. Speaking of nice teeth, Tom Cruise has some good chompers, and shockingly, they're still intact, even after all the cray-cray stunt work he's done over the years. He did break multiple ribs, I think, in that Fallout jump, but he still limped over the finish line. And yes, he was actually on the side of an in-flight airplane for Rogue Nation, but somehow I'm even more impressed with the motorcycle chase for the ages in that very same movie. Kids, Uncle Mark wants you to wear a helmet. Earlier films in the franchise had tons of fun with Ethan Hunt hanging on by a literal thread, and I think we can all admit we would have been caught red-handed had that been us trying to steal a floppy disk from Langley. I'm sorry, sir, I really just needed that 10 free hours of America Online. Even though it's the lowest of the franchise in terms of Tomatometer, Mission Impossible 2 did open with a stunning rock climbing sequence, and it closed with a knife almost going through Tom Cruise's eye. Not the character Ethan Hunt, the actor too, the knife is really that close. If you have a queasy tummy, do not watch those behind the scenes. What's the more iconic series of moments for you? Is your beauty beholden to a vast array of fun gadgets and one-liners? Or are you more of a down and dirty mano-a-mano fighter? Or do you just love getting to see a good stunt on the biggest screen possible? I do love what all three spies bring to the table in this round, but no one goes more all out for their craft than Tom Cruise. And by proxy, that makes Ethan Hunt the purveyor of the highest quality iconic moments. Topped, of course, by my all-time favorite, the majestic Ghost Protocol building, dangling, death-defying exercise and audience sense stimulation. I look at Tom Cruise performing his own stunts like I do Thursday night football games. They are highly unnecessary, and I fear for the player's safety. But am I going to watch every moment of it? You're damn right I will. Ethan Hunt wins round 4 and goes up by 1.
We good?
Things got a little out of hand.
Ah! Look out!
And now it's time for the wild card round. Would you rather? Okay, let's get everyone's mind out of the gutter right now. It's not that kind of would you rather. Although an MFK scenario between these three fictional gentlemen is probably a fun game to play at your leisure. And while Ethan Hunt seems to be the only one of our eligible bachelors who even flirts with the idea of marriage, each super spy brings their own unique methodology to the table. Which begs the question that could determine the match in this round: who would you rather be?
The writing's on the wall?
Yep, that's right. You're saying goodbye to your ordinary life forever and becoming either a James Bond, or an Ethan Hunt, or a Jason Bourne. So for instance, if you're currently, say, a comedian who hosts a talk show where you make art competitive for funsies, would you rather give that up for an impossible mission, a meticulously crafted martini, or a supreme Bourne adventure? Let's take a look at the best qualities of our one job and the three very divergent lifestyles therein to determine a victor. Ethan Hunt has a good time, and that seems to be the case even when he's not out on a mission. Why? Because he's got a girlfriend, and she seems pretty sweet on him. Or at least she was at the outset of Mission Impossible 3, and then kind of sort of later in the franchise, but not really. She knows he'll never stop never stopping until he's dead, and he's starting to accept that his fate is that of a loner. But why mope around lamenting your lone wolf future? If that's going to happen anyway, bring some fun friends along for the handbasket ride into hell. Ethan has cool pals that manage to fill every need one could desire. They're great at hacking you into any mainframe, and if you don't already look like stud Tom Cruise, don't worry, there's a mask for that. Ethan Hunt is the perfect template for folks who want to go on a joyous, harebrained vacation, and while you're out there, you might as well save the day too. Jason Bourne also gets the day saved, but in a very different fashion. First of all, let's start with fashion. He doesn't have much. When you have trouble remembering your name or how you got there in the first place, the acquisition of fine threads doesn't necessarily make a dent in your to-do list. And whereas Ethan prefers the Groupon discount you'll get when traveling in a group, Jason Bourne prefers the rogue life of going it solo. Which is why I personally find his lifestyle so appealing. You're rarely seen, rarely heard, and no one bugs you about why you didn't wish them a happy birthday. You're 41, Brett, get over it. If you become Jason Bourne, gone are the days of worrying about identity theft. You've already got loads of passports and aliases to play with. And not even the world's finest student loan collector can track you down to ask how much you'd like your next monthly installment to be. It's almost like paradise. Except you never get to chill. Like, ever. Even when you have a sweet little pad right on the ocean and you're exercising every morning and romancing your sweetheart, someone is always looking for you. You're not living in peaceful isolation, you're on the run. Jason Bourne is like the best survivor in the movie It Follows. You may outlive your competition, but you're always on the go. And if you ever finally do get a chance to rest, good luck staying in REM with all those flashback nightmares to brutal weapon-like X training that you endured. Now, James Bond, that's a guy who enjoys a good nap. I guess sleep is enhanced after you have a few drinks and a mysterious, bedfellow to accompany you in the process. Forget fighting styles and daredevil stunts, even globe-trotting spies need a good cuddle every now and again. Bond has endured for over 6 decades precisely because his lifestyle is the eternal dream. You jet set, party, romance, save the world, deliver the perfect quip, rinse, repeat. After studying the entire 007 library time and time again, I've never seen Bond have to clock in, wear a hairnet, or send an invoice. Sometimes his government agency pals can be somewhat inept, but that just seems to stoke his own competitive fire. Ideally, I could be the Bond of Connery, Moore, or even the Brosnan era. The Daniel Craig one looks a little more daunting. The high-wire fight scenes, losing the lady you thought was your one and only, the ever-expanding industry of body torture. But even he finds time to chill at the bar in perfectly tailored clothes, chat it up with the locals, do more than a few talking with a few of the locals in particular, and then employ fine new gadgets and drive away successfully in a luxury sports car. There is no substitute for Bond, and that phrase is especially true when it comes to the overall lifestyle. Bourne and Hunt certainly have their upside, but with 007, there is no downside. Thus, it is Jimmy Bond that wins the Would You Rather wildcard round, and he ties Ethan Hunt with 2 points apiece.
Bond. James Bond.
Oh no, which means I, Mark, have to pick the one true winner here in my fun little epilogue. If it's a super spy you want, Jason Bourne, James Bond, or Ethan Hunt will do the job just fine. But for the greatest of them all, I'm still taking the OG GOAT, the grandpappy of them all, James Bond. If Mission Impossible movies keep doing boffo business, that decision could change, and who knows if anyone will ever be able to add to the Bourne legacy. I just know the legacy of 007 has already been cemented for some time now. We just keep adding fun new bricks to the sculpture. James Bond wins, but that's just my little novella. How about you? Let us know which spectacularly sterling secret agent you like the best and why. You can hit me up on social media at Mark Ellis Live or go to any of Rotten Tomatoes' social media channels. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Mark Ellis reminding you, we need another Austin Powers movie. Yeah, baby. Yeah. That wasn't even British. Well, I tried.